Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my good friend / my co-host, Devin. And today we are here to start our Star Wars series revisited with Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Now, the reason why we're starting with this Star Wars story is because Andor, the new Disney Plus series, is going to be hitting Disney Plus here. By the time this is out, it should actually already be out for people to watch on Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. So we're just going to kind of give our initial rewatch thoughts, kind of ponder on what was for Rogue One and how that affects Andor altogether, and just our overall excitement for this new series. But of course, we're going to be getting into some initial rewatch thoughts here today and just a few thoughts about the Andor series from what we've read online. Then we're kind of just going to give our final thoughts about Rogue One and then close on out here for everyone. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at FilmOptix, or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie related questions. Devin, gonna go see a concert here soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Tuesdays are definitely pretty rough usually, but thankfully got something to look forward to today. So yeah, I got to watch a good movie and hopefully go to see a good concert.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Tuesdays can be a bit rough. You know, we're not necessarily towards the middle of the week yet, but we are coming up on the last days of summer, which is very, very sad. But at the same time, fall will be in full swing. You know, football season has already started. You know, we get that hoodie weather coming in soon. But yeah, fall season it's almost here. It's almost upon us altogether. So, do you have any fun, spooky things you're going to be planning on watching to get yourself ready for Halloween? And what are you going to be for Halloween this year?
I'm just going to watch pretty much all the horror movies that come out during the spooky season. There's a pretty good list we got. But as far as what I'm going to be, I'm not sure yet. I have some options laying around.
No Alfred this time, or Wilfred?
I don't know what happened to Wilfred. He's buried somewhere. I don't know where though. Buddy the Elf as well.
That's right, Buddy the Elf. My God, I totally forgot about that. Last year I dressed up, but it wasn't like anything clever. I was just like a DC fan. Like I had my DC like hoodie on, and I had like a Batman hat on as well, like a little ball cap. But this year I'm going as Dusty Bun from Stranger Things.
Look at that.
Yeah, I got my hat coming in. The season, season 4 of Dustin, of course. Thinking about getting like a little, like some wig stuff to kind of like glue to the back, but I feel like that's just gonna look super weird. But I got the Hellfire Club shirt coming in. I got the Hawaiian shirt coming in. The hat. So it's a very simple costume that requires little to no effort, and then we're all good to go. Like that's all I need.
How it should be.
That's exactly. I mean, as much as I would love to dress up as like Cobra Kai gear or something like that ain't flying with me. But to get back on track here, because we are limited on time today, unfortunately, but we are going to be giving our initial reactions, our initial rewatch thoughts, I should say, about Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. To me, definitely top 5 Star Wars movies out there of all time. We're just going to be kind of talking about our, what we noticed on our initial rewatch thoughts and just what we liked about the movie overall, and, the things that we didn't, and, our thoughts about the Andor series, as I mentioned before, since this is all kind of coming out on the day of Andor. So very, very excited about that. So Devin, are you ready to get into our Rogue One, A Star Wars Story franchise revisited review?
We're going rogue.
We're going rogue. That was a very long-winded thing I just said. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this introduction to Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
All the way.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard a little snippet of the trailer from Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Just to let you guys know, this kind of goes without saying, but if you haven't seen it, we will be talking about plot points in this review. So there will be spoilers for this because this came out in 2016, had a few years to watch it.
I don't think spoiler warnings needed on this one.
Not at all. Not at all. We're just going to go, we're going to dive head in first. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So really quick, I'm actually going to pass it over to Devin so we can give his initial rewatch thoughts on Rogue One, a Star Wars story, since he finished watching it again for, I don't know, maybe the second time, because Devin doesn't rewatch movies all that much. So I'm very curious to hear his thoughts. So take it away, buddy.
Yeah, I had not seen this one since it came out. So that was, 6 years ago? This one was definitely a very needed rewatch because it's just a great Star Wars movie. And it was very fun to rewatch this one. I just, there's so much to love about this movie. First of all, the cast is just amazing. You got Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk, Donnie Yen, Ben Mendelsohn, Forrest Whitaker, Mads Mikkelsen, Riz Ahmed, just keeps going and going. They're all kind of up and coming at that time, and now they're even more established, so it looks even more impressive when you look back on it. But I just love this ragtag group of rebels just getting the job done for the cause, just giving the universe the hope that's needed. There's a lot of good humor in this one. Kung Fu Jedi is always going to be one of the coolest things we've ever seen in Star Wars. And he was blind too, just to make it even cooler. K2SO is a great android. Pretty much every time he spoke, it was funny. Like, he just had so many good one-liners throughout. Pretty solid villain, Ben Mendelsohn. He always just gets the job done, and you just kind of fall in love with his team and their cause. And it was so refreshing to see a new story within the Star Wars universe that was done so well. Like, they did use legacy characters, but it was done for the purpose of a story that no one had ever heard before. And it was the story of how they got the Death Star plans. And that is a very important plot point. And I'm glad we got to see it.
Yeah, I definitely echo a lot of what you said there. For my rewatch, I was actually able to go back to the theater to see Rogue One in IMAX, which was very, very exciting. And I actually got to see a little snippet, a little taste of Andor. It was about maybe a good 5 to 6 minute sneak peek that they gave us. It was supposed to be like an exclusive look within theaters, and went to go see it in AMC. And it's just one of those movies where I will never get tired of watching this, solely because this is one of the first movies that Disney took, that is underneath the Disney Lucasfilm wing. Like, we had Force Awakens that came out in 2015, and I mean that did wonders. Force Awakens, again, one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars movies of all time. Like, it is in high regard for me. So is Rogue One. So this was during the time where, Disney finally had that Star Wars license, it was established, and they were able to start making movies again for the franchise. And this was supposed to be one of many a Star Wars story franchise in and of itself, because also we know that we got Solo, a Star Wars story, and there was supposed to be a few more, but they kind of started mixing those after the backlash that
Solo kind of ruined that one.
Yeah, they definitely did. But it's unfortunate. But I digress. When it comes to Rogue One, what I love about it is that it doesn't fall into the standard Star Wars cliches, like when Felicity Jones and K-29 are, they're in one of the shafts. They're actually on the beach, and they're trying to, get the Death Star plans. And K-29's he's like, I have a bad feeling. He's about to say, I have a bad feeling about this. And they're like, don't say it, like hush, quiet, like we need to focus on the mission. And not only that, but this is the one and only Star Wars movie that I can remember. I don't know if Solo had this, you have to remind me, that doesn't have a title crawl during the beginning of the movie. It just throws you in, and I absolutely love that. The score was fantastic. It's a lot of different renditions of popular Star Wars scores that are already out there. So yeah, Devin, like you said, this is just a ragtag group of rebels all together. Like Felicity Jones does a fantastic job. Honestly, this cast is really stacked, like you said, and I just love the journey that Felicity's character goes on and the people that she meets. And it's all about, everyone's trying to take down the Empire, but they have their own way of doing it. So you have rebels essentially fighting other rebels, even though they aren't part of the Rebel Alliance. They're still trying to take down the Empire their own way, but it does create a rift between those who are trying to fight, for the cause. So it's very interesting. I've always loved how beautifully shot this is, and
I love the scale of everything, like the massive ships and the giant islands that they're on. It just feels very impressive to look at.
Oh yeah. And of course, with Jyn Erso, because I know that they did go back and do reshoots for this, because we do know Darth Vader does make an appearance.
Oh yeah, one of the best Darth Vader scenes we've gotten, just dominating.
It was amazing. Like honestly, just through like watching it again in theaters, like it's coming, and it's still amazing.
I'd forgotten where that takes place. I forgot it was like at the very end.
Yeah, like the very, very end, and it does bleed into A New Hope. And like you said, Devin, there is a bit of fan service there, but it's really just about, hey, this is a singular story about how, Cassian Andor, Jyn Erso, K2SO, I think I said K29 earlier, and I do apologize. Ben Mendelsohn's character, Orson, the entire movie is this, it's an homage to Star Wars, obviously, but it's canon, but it's not at the same time. I feel like it's canon, but it is not considered to be a part of the Skywalker saga, if that makes sense. Like it is a story that happens within, in between the Skywalker saga, but this story itself is not considered to be part of the Skywalker saga. So that is what I really like about it. It is kind of a one-off because, spoiler alert, a lot of these characters, they're all dead.
Yeah, everyone dies at the end. Basically, they did it before Infinity War. They really, and at the time it was kind of mind blowing.
Nobody came back. That's the difference.
Well, Andor came back, but it's a bit in the past.
Yeah, so actually let's talk about that for a quick second before we close out here. For Diego Luna, he is returning back for Cassian Andor. As I said before, by the time this is out, the first 3 episodes of Andor will be streaming on Disney+.
There's also a little 10-minute preview on Disney Plus for Andor that's actually pretty interesting. It has Diego Luna and the writer Tony Gilroy just kind of talking about the character and what the show is going to be, and it looks really impressive.
I feel like that same insight is what they showed at the theater.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because like if I go on there and be like, oh, what's this? Like, oh, I already saw this in theaters. Very, very sneaky Disney. I see what you did there. But really quick, Devin, what is your excitement for Andor? I know we haven't seen it as of this recording as of yet, but are you excited for this? Have you been reading a lot of reviews or just first impressions of the series overall?
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. And then just seeing people's first impressions, it just gets you more excited because people are saying how impressive this is, like the scale of everything and the stakes and how different it is from anything Star Wars has ever done. Like even more different than Rogue One, I've heard it is. So, and it takes place 5 years before the events of Rogue One. We get to see Andor's upbringing and how he became a rebel and how he found a cause to fight for. So it should be really interesting. to see it all play out.
Yeah, definitely. And I was going through Twitter earlier in Heavy Spoilers, aka Steven Spoilersberg, YouTuber Heavy Spoilers. He actually tweeted saying that he got to watch the first 3 episodes of Andor, and he said he really enjoyed it. He said it feels like an HBO show rather than a Disney Plus one. The tone is brilliant across it, and it's almost like a cross between Blade Runner and The Man in the High Castle. Definitely recommend it.
Very high praise.
That is very, very high praise. I was sent screeners for it, but I didn't have time to sit down and watch them because, life gets in the way. But I do plan on watching them because we are going to be covering at least the first 3 episodes of Andor, depending on how we feel. Usually with some of these Star Wars projects or just projects in general. I think we did it for, Bad Batch. We did like the first 2 episodes and we're like, oh, it's cool, but it didn't really.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
No, didn't really catch us all that much, but hopefully Andor will change our minds. And just to let you guys know, if we do decide to move ahead with Andor after the first 3 episodes, those episodes will be released every 3 weeks because we have a lot on our plate right now. If you guys have not noticed, we are covering House of the Dragon weekly and She-Hulk on top of that with a few other movies scrunched in between there. So we're going to try to give our Andor review the best way that we can. It's just going to be every 3 episodes. So 4, 5, 6, we'll do an episode after episode 6 airs, kind of talk about the journey so far, so on and so forth, up until episode 12. But yeah, I'm very excited for Andor. And, Heavy Spoilers saying that it feels like an HBO show is really nice. And I did read somewhere that there are no callbacks, there are no Easter eggs to any other Star Wars characters or, any other sequences within the universe, which I think is really, really nice. And hopefully if Andor does really well, I hope Disney Plus or Lucasfilm decides to, hey, we've outside of the things they already have in motion, like with Ahsoka, I feel like that is really necessary. But it's just sometimes I'm really excited that this series does not have any callbacks to like Luke Skywalker. It's like, it's great to see it, but it's been ran into the ground at this point, and I just want a new, fresh Star Wars series that I can watch at home without worrying about, an Easter egg popping up every 10 to 15 minutes about a callback to another movie. I want, Star Wars is supposed to expand on its world, and we need to do that by introducing new characters. I think having an Andor series is in the right direction, although we already know his fate that happens in Rogue One. But still, if they're able to pull this off, this is great. But yeah, any other final thoughts about Andor or gotcha.
Got it.
Rogue One?
No, just excited to watch it tomorrow. You got the first 3 episodes. Should be good.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I don't have too much else, but I guess on your rewatch of Rogue One, what would you give it a score out of? Because right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at 84% for critics and 86% for the audience score.
Yeah, I'd be right around there too, probably like an 87. There are parts where it feels a bit overlong. It is a 2-hour, 13 runtime, which for Star Wars isn't that much, but just felt a little long. And yeah, I got the job done. But other than that, just super solid entry and really kind of changed things up when Star Wars was trying to get back into the swing of things.
I got to give it to Disney really quick. They really, it seemed that they cared at first. And I hate that to say that, but with Rogue One, and then, after Rogue One comes the infamous, when we had Solo, but before then we had The Last Jedi, which I do enjoy, but still has some issues. But yeah, job well done. Rogue One is such a fantastic film, and I wish we have a little bit more time to talk about it, but we are coming up on time here. So for my score for Rogue One on my rewatch, seeing it in theaters, I'm just going to give it like a solid 90, because this is like top tier Star Wars. It's fantastic. It doesn't have any traditional lightsabers, which is okay, but we do get a little bit of lightsaber action in there. But it really shows what else the Star Wars universe could be outside of always focusing on the Jedi and always focusing on the Sith all at once. The deep fake or the of Carrie Fisher with the whole Princess Leia thing, that was okay. But it was great to see Darth Vader back.
Also, General Tarkin?
Yeah, Tarkin as well. It was okay. But, like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, they kind of had to do that to fit the story. I get it. But, yeah, it really, this really is like a timestamp, or it really is like that reference that I believe that a lot of Star Wars projects that don't want to focus on a lot of, the Skywalker saga kind of just focuses on and uses that as inspiration. I mean, job well done. It's a fantastic movie. It will for always be one of my favorite Star Wars movies. We'll see what else comes out. We're not getting a lot of Star Wars movies coming up soon, so it's just going to be TV for a while, which is fine. But that concludes our a very quicker, series revisited or franchise revisited review look at Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Again, wish we had a little bit more time, but we just don't today. So with all that said, if you like what you heard on today's episode, you can subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice, and make sure to share an episode of our podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And really quick, we have a lot of things going on right now, but I'm just going to plug two things. We're covering House of the Dragon weekly, so definitely check those out. Our reviews actually dropped a little bit earlier because we were able to get screeners for that to give you guys non-spoiler reviews. Again, those are non-spoiler reviews. And we're actually covering She-Hulk every single week as well. So definitely take a look at those episodes, as well as a few other movies that we have on the podcast. So we will see you guys later. We hope you have a great day, and may the Force be with you. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. We'll see you guys in a galaxy far, far away.
Peace.